I'll kick off. Apologies in advance. We don't quite have RTE's budget and their production quality going on here, but we're hoping to show you some of the accessible toys that we've come across that we think might be quite useful for Christmas presents or birthday presents. So we've kind of categorized them under a few different topics. I'm going to be going between two devices here, so apologies in advance if I disappear on one screen. But just to say, we're recording this webinar, so you have access to it afterwards. We will blur out people's names and their videos if they're on for placing it on YouTube after the fact. But if you want to turn off your video anyway, that's absolutely fine. We will have time at the end for some questions and answers. So, or if in the meantime, you can pop questions into the chat as well. My name is Julianne Bergen. My colleague Mary is also online as well. So Mary will be keeping an eye on the chat and answering any questions, and anything that doesn't get answered there or we feel it's come up a few times, we'll address at the end of the session. So if that's okay, we might just take it off. So this presentation is kind of based on a document that we produce each year. It's done mostly by our colleague Sean Loughran, to give him credit, about accessible games, apps and toys. So you can access it through our blogspot, which is www.atandme.com, or you can scan the QR code there and it will take you to the website as well. That's updated every year and has a good variety of different types of toys in there. We won't be able to cover everything that's in that guide, unfortunately. We only have 45 minutes today, but we will have some time, as I say, for Q&A at the end. We're going to focus in on the technology toys here. There is some more sensory, non-tech options in the guide, just be aware of that. So we're going to kick off with some options around reading. This is a personal favorite of mine. I was actually banned from getting books for Christmas because I disappear under the duvet for Christmas Day. So after a while I was banned from getting books for Christmas. I get them on Stevenson's Day instead. But it's a dear one to me, and I think a lot of people get pleasure from reading or listening to stories. So we're looking at some options here around reading and books. As I say, these are more technology-based ones, but just to say there's some really nice apps out there and websites that can be quite useful. So if the child you're considering buying for is already an iPad user or uses a computer, these could be really good options. There's the Storytime app from CBeebies. Unfortunately, that is only available in the UK, but if you've got the tech knowledge to change your location, that can be a really good one to know about. MeBooks is a really nice one as well. Monarch Reader is a web-based option. Some of you may have come across it before. It was called Tar Heel Reader. They changed the name of it there, I think sometime over the summer. But it's a really lovely option for those students who require a lot of support around reading. And I'll show you that one now in a second. I'm just going to go through a couple more ones here. Most people are familiar with Audible. It's part of Amazon and it is basically their audiobook section. So it's a really nice one. You can download pretty much any book that's available out there. The way it works is that it's a subscription service, so that you pay a certain amount a month and you get a book or two as part of that subscription, and you can pay for more books as well. However, if you're looking for kind of more sustainable option, something like BorrowBox can be really useful to download. That is the County Council Library app. So if you're part of your local library, you can use BorrowBox to get ebooks and also audiobooks as well. Sometimes you might have to go on a wait list for them, but you're getting access to them free of charge. So just wants to know about there. Hopefully I can bring up Monarch Reader now. Sorry, 1 second. So this is a really nice one, as I said. You can create your own books on this. I'm just going to one of the pre-made books. You can see here, people have created books already and shared them. So there's a lot around Thanksgiving because that's coming up this week for American people. But you can also see here, you can kind of go in and look at different options under categories as well. So for example, if I just go back up here, and I am going to choose, the one I was looking at earlier on has disappeared off the top listing, sorry. So here you can see this. This is a book that is about a dog as a friend. I just simply press on read. And it's actually reading it aloud. I don't know if you're actually hearing that. I'm not sure if sound actually shared.
No, the sound hasn't shared. Sorry, Julianne, the book hasn't shared.
No
but that's okay.
Sorry. And you can see it's very simple controls. You can just simply press the buttons on the left and right to scroll through it. So you can bookmark your favorite books. It's a really nice option. And as I say, you can create your own books as well. So for example, you're looking for a present option for a child, you can maybe create a library for them and give them access to it. Some people like to go for ebook readers as well. So there's options out there such as the Kobo Libra reader, which is quite a nice one because it's actually got physical buttons on the side. So if somebody prefers something physical to press rather than swiping, that can be a really good option. The Amazon Kindle tablet, there's a good few variations of that one out there, but there is some very nice kid-friendly options that have kind of got a very rugged casing on them, so they last a little bit longer. You can also download apps to them, so it's not just about reading. So that's a decision for your family to make about whether you want to go down that route. Another nice option, just to be aware of, this is something we came across on Amazon during the last few months, was a page turner. And they're quite cheap, about 25 euros or so. But basically it attaches to your tablet, and then you have a little kind of button presser that will change the pages for you. So it's quite a nice option for people who don't like swiping but might be okay with pressing down on a button, for example. So a really nice one to know about. It can make a device more accessible as well. You can also look at screen-free audio players. So for those people who might not want to give a tablet to somebody, maybe it's wind down time for bed and you're not happy with them having more screen time, for example, you can look at screen-free audio players. There's a few options out there, but we're going to talk about two today. One is the Yoto player, and that comes in two versions, the standard and the mini player, and the Toniebox. So you might be familiar with these. They've been around the Toniebox has been around for a good few years at this point. The Yoto player, probably not as popular, but for me, I think it also has its benefits as well. So bear with me now. Hopefully you can see my screen. And in front of us there, you can kind of see I've got the Toniebox at the moment. So this is kind of about 5 inches cubed, about 5 inches each way. So it's fairly big, fairly rugged. It has kind of a soft fabric feel to it. So it's actually quite nice to feel. It's not hard plastic at all, only for the bit on top. And the idea behind this is that you place your Tony, which are these little figurines, I suppose. You get lots of different variations of these. And you just pop them on top when you want to read.
Once upon a time, there was a world in which there was no world. A time when...
And to simply stop it, you just take off the Tony and it stops playing. You have options to press on the little ears here to turn the volume up and down. And also you can tilt and tap on the side of the Tony to do other things like skip ahead in the book or to go backwards. You can use them, as you saw there, for stories, but you can also get little Tonys that have music. So this one is a nighttime one. So really nice options. You can also get blank Tonys, which is this little one here. And we have a little, maybe more different colored one here. And these ones you can put your own content on. So for example, you can record a story and onto it using the app, and it, once placed then on the Toniebox, will read it aloud. So this could be a lovely idea for a family that might not be close by. So grandparents, aunts and uncles, they can record maybe reading a bedtime story, maybe just a little update on life, maybe sing a song, something like that, and pass it to the child, and they can just simply pop it on top and have the message read aloud. They actually hold quite a bit of content. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's like at least an hour, if not more, of content. So it's quite a long, chunky piece. So you can actually read a lot onto it. The second option we have, bear with me, I'm just going to move my iPad, is the Yoto mini player we have here. So again, similar idea to the Toniebox. It is an audio player basically. And instead of having little Tonys, you have little cards. So I've got two here. One is the Gruffalo's Child. So this might be for your younger readers. And we've also got Horrid Henry, which might be for your 7 to 10-year-olds maybe. And you simply just pop the card in and turn on the device, a little button on the side.
Are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then let's begin. It's not easy.
Okay, so you simply pop in the cards. Again, you can get packs of blank cards for other people to record stories as well. But one of the nice things I like about this, and is actually also available on the Tony as well, if you press the left button, sorry, the right button, sorry, the left button is for volume, so you can up and down the volume using this here, and you can kind of see the little graphic down here. It tells me how far along I am. But if you press the right button, let's hope it works. It opens up a daily podcast that's kind of updated every day for children around interesting facts and news and things like that.
Happy Tuesday, my Yoto Daily chumps. What a delight that you could join us today. How are you feeling this fine Tuesday?
If I press it again, I get through to a Yoto radio station. So that has content that's updated fairly frequently as well. It's a combination of kind of classic songs as well as kind of more up-to-date pop songs. When I turned this on earlier on, it was actually playing a Christmas song. So just an interesting one to know about. It's a nice option. As I say, they're quite rugged. That will take a drop. It's not as maybe child appealing. It is a bit more of a retro styling. So it might appeal for older kids and into young adults as well. This reminds me of the toys I would have gotten back in the late 80s, early 90s kind of period as well. So nice one to know about. As I say, it charges up, and both of them are portable options. And as I say, they do actually have fairly decent battery life in them as well. So really nice options. They're not too expensive. I think the Toniebox is about €100, and then the Tonys themselves, if you're buying kind of pre-made ones, they can vary, I think, somewhere between 10 and 15 euros or thereabouts. Similar for the Yoto player, the main one I think is about 100, 120. The mini that we have here is probably be about 70 euros. And then the cards, you buy them. So again, copyright and stuff like that means that some of them are more expensive than others. Okay, moving on then to some music options. There's some fabulous options available out there for people who want to listen to music, but also maybe want to create their own music as well. So we're going to look at a few options here. Some of these are mainstream, some of them more specialized, but we'll take a peep and see what you think. So, for example, you can have simple music players. That's the one on the top left there, whereby you kind of pre-program in a small amount of a playlist, for example. You can put in your own playlist there that might have a collection of, I think, 30 to 50 songs. I can't remember the exact amount. But you can use then either the buttons on top of the device or the switches to up and down the volume, fast forward, rewind. So very simple controls. So for somebody who doesn't want to be using a tablet or a smartphone to listen to music, it's a really nice option. The one on the top right is a disco light with speakers attached, so it actually changes the projections according to the music. And then you've also got there this, oh sorry, that was the Switch Adaptive Music Player, is the one I talked about first of all, the Simple Music Player. So the Simple Music Player, again, I'm just going to show you this one. I'm sorry, just let me change my image slightly. Is this one here. So really nice option. Again, you can put your own playlists in here, but it's got very simple controls. You simply lift the lid here to play music, close it to stop the music, And if you want to change the song, so really nice, simple, easy to use one. It's got, again, very retro styling. So for anybody who likes that aesthetic, it's quite nice. It's quite chunky now. It does have kind of a wood type feel to it, but it does remind me of kind of retro radios as well. So that's one option to know about, and as I say, it's a really nice one. You might need to look at rugged music players if you've got somebody who's has a tendency to drop things or something like that. You could look something like the Yoto player and record music onto one of the blank cards. Again, you can record hours of content on there onto those cards. So you could create your own playlist, transfer it across to the card, and then literally pop it in. So basically that's done through the app that's on your phone or tablet. The child does not need to have access to the app. You just simply pop the card in, transfer the content from your phone across to the card, and then once it's transferred, the person can listen to it independently as well. You could look at some of kind of the rugged MP3 players. The one I have there is the Yoton one. Again, I think that was off of Amazon. I think I found it. It again is quite rugged. It's got a little clip there on the back of it, so you can attach it to a belt or to a piece of clothing, so it doesn't go walkabout. So a really nice one, quite rugged. And you could then also look at kind of some of the AAC devices. A lot of the AAC devices at the kind of low and mid-tech level actually rely on sound being recorded into them. So things like the Go Talk buttons and the talking tiles, they can be quite nice ones. They're the colourful kind of hexagonal buttons there on the bottom of the screen. So literally you can press and hold those, record in a piece of music, and then when the person comes along later on, they can press it and hear that song. You could put labels on there. Those particular talking tile buttons have a kind of a clear plastic overlay, so you can put a little picture, for example, if you've recorded Tom Jones or Lady Gaga or Charlie XCX, you can put their picture on there so the person knows when they press the button that's what they're going to get. Some other options then, accessible instruments. I've put a link there. Sorry, we will share the PowerPoint slides with anybody who wants them afterwards. But I've put a link there to a UK website called takeitaway.org.uk. And they have got a great list and guide to buying accessible instruments. So for example, if somebody has an acquired disability and is already maybe a guitar player or piano player or violin player, they have some great ideas around adaptations there. So that's a really good one to know about. But there's loads of other options around accessible music instruments out there. So just to give a couple of examples. We have here a piano. This is not charged, is it? It's not charged. Nope, it's not working right now. Apologies. This is very symbolic of the toy show that something goes wrong. But the idea behind this is a rubberized keyboard, so you can press the keys, you get music like you would a standard keyboard. What's nice about this one is it's actually rubberized, so it can be twisted and tossed. So even doing things like that movement normally would play the sounds on it. Apologies, it's just not working right now. So a really nice option to know about. Again, quite rugged. That would take a bit of damage. You could even put that on the floor and let somebody tap on it with their feet. It'll actually take that quite well. You can also change the different tones and pitches and other things like that there. And you can also plug in the headset in there if you want a little bit of peace and quiet around your house. It's a really nice one to know about. There is lots of these kind of rubberized instruments. I've come across drum variations of it before as well, kind of like a drum mat. So you could use your hands or you could use drumsticks on it, depending on what you want to do. Another option that we kind of like, I have to say, is this one called an Automotone. Just making sure it's on. So it is a little instrument that is completely electronic, basically. So the idea is that you press open the mouth and this changes the tone of the sound. And then as you press on the stem, it changes the pitch. So quite a nice one to know about again. It's a little bit unusual. Some people really like it though. I've seen loads of videos on YouTube of people recreating songs using this, which is, some of them actually do sound quite good. So a nice one to know about. It's called an automaton. This is kind of a smaller one. There is a larger one you can get as well. This we got from Thomann, which is a worldwide recognized music site. So it is considered a mainstream type of instrument. If somebody's a single-handed user, you could look at somehow clamping the mouth open using kind of wood clamps or something like that, or even hair clamps. I've seen somebody do it, or even a bit of tape wound quite tightly around this part here would work as well. There are also lots of specialized instruments out there. These unfortunately tend to be quite expensive. You can be looking at €500 upwards for some of these. But just to say, there is some specialized instruments out there. Might be worthwhile keeping an eye out for some of them if you come across them, maybe cheap or secondhand. For example, the quintet is an instrument where you plug in various different switches and you can have either different sounds attached to each switches or different pieces of music and play them in sequence. There's the Magic Flute there. That's an Irish-made product by Brian Dillon, Unique Perspectives. And the idea behind it is that you can use it, play it by just your breath. You don't actually have to press finger anywhere like you would on a normal flute. You simply move it up and down to get different notes along the way. And the Soundbeam, some of you might have come across that. It's a project that's been around for a good few years now at this stage. But the idea is that it sends out infrared light, and where you break the beam creates different notes. If you have access to a tablet or a computer, there's lots of options around online music. For example, Patatab is a really nice one, and hopefully this one is lined up for us. Here we go. So you simply press anywhere on the screen. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't get the sound. Sorry, so for reason sounds not. But it's giving me music there, and you can kind of see it's giving lots of shapes on screen. And if I use multiple fingers, you can see I'm getting a lot more activity out of it. So that's a free website. Again, if anybody's interested, what you could do is make this into an app on your home screen. So it looks like it's a paid for app, but you're literally going to this website instead. So a nice one to know about. I'm sorry for the sound not sharing there. Again, there's some more options here. The Apollo Ensemble is a kit we've kind of put together. If you want to know more about that, atandme.com. For somebody who's an eye gaze user, the iHarp is a really nice accessible option. So again, it's subscription based as far as I remember. So you could buy your subscription to that for somebody. So really nice options to know about. The Theremin apps on the App Store, there's a good few of them there. And basically the idea behind these is that they usually use the camera on your device. Sorry, I can't demonstrate it because I'm using the camera for other things here today. But as you move your hand further or closer away, it changes the tones. You also have things like GarageBand, which is a very well-known one. Where is it gone? One that has been around for years. This may or may not work. Oh, crashed. Oh, sorry, it's crashing because it's clashing with something else. Apologies. But that's again a free app. You can play the drums. You can choose different instruments there as well. It has guitar, piano, and you can change the type of piano as well, from example, to classic organ or grand piano to an electric keyboard. So really nice options there as well. Just talking about simple gaming and cause and effect toys then. We're going to start with just simple cause and effect toys. Basically, the idea behind these is that you press a switch and something happens. So this is what we call cause and effect, and it's kind of the start of learning about communication, your effect on the environment. all that kind of thing. There's lots of ready-made toys out there, but these tend to be quite expensive and one-offs, and a child can get quite bored of them very quickly. So we usually try to look at ways of being a bit more flexible. So you can see there's some suppliers on screen. Andrews Award Systems is an Irish-based company. The other two, Inclusive and Liberator, are English-based companies. So just bear in mind with Brexit, there can be additional taxes and charges after the fact. However, our usual way of doing this is to look at adapting your own toys. So all you need is a toy that can be left in the on position. These tend to be the cheaper toys you get in things like the Euro shops and deals and places like that. So check those out. This time of year is great because if you go to any of the street markets or Panthos or anything like that, you tend to get those brightly coloured flashy lights to just twirl around, or if you're ever at a circus either. They're these sort of ideal toys because you simply turn them on and that's them. That's all they do. And what we recommend is using a battery interrupter or a switch adapter. And you can use this and then move it to another toy once the child gets bored of that particular toy. So let me show you how this could be done. So, apologies now. Let's tweak this around. So for example, this here is a battery adapter. So you can kind of see it's just a little piece of metal at the end of the cable, and we have a 3.5mm port here that the switch goes into. So I've literally got my little disco ball here, and you can see there's the batteries. I'm just going to pop one of the batteries out for a second. And what you do is you simply place, trying to do this now, making sure it's in frame, that into the bottom of the battery compartment and push in your battery. There we go. So that's now our little disco ball set up, ready to go. I've just got a switch here. This is an access switch. So this one I think is around 35 euros. If the child is already using switches, you can simply repurpose the one that they're using. Some children might have very specific switches that they use. So just check that out. I'm just going to literally plug this in here. And what happens now, when I press the switch, the disco ball should start working. And it's not. Oh, there we go. Sorry, apologies, I hadn't left it in the on position. So you can see there now it's twirling around. This one doesn't do music or anything like that, so it was a nice one to demonstrate today, so I wouldn't have to compete sound-wise. But, for example, this could be used with, I've got just a simple bubble machine that I picked up in Tesco's, I think for under a tenner. And again, all you have to do is open the battery compartment and slip the option in there. Also got, sorry, let me move this out of the way, this closer. This is a toy I've seen. There's a unicorn variation of this one. And the idea behind it is, again, you plug in the switch, you have little characters that come up the stairs and go sliding down. But this one's actually quite loud and noisy. So I won't play that one for very long. You can also get, as I mentioned there, kind of pre-made toys. So this is an example of a pre-adapted toy that we got from one of the suppliers. It is a Fisher-Price toy, but they simply done a very neat job of switch adapting this. So you can see they've bored a hole into the surface of the device there. So this one probably a little bit more sturdy than the little battery adapters that we're using, but it gives you an idea of what's possible and what's available out there. There's a link to a YouTube video there that will show you how to put in those battery adapters. If you have more complex toys, so those toys you have to press the paws or press their tummy or pull their ear or something like that, you might need to look for a little bit more expertise in adapting those ones. For example, I've had in the past people who've approached men's sheds, because often you've got a group of people there who are very practical and have the knowledge and skill set to do this. But there's also makers and hackers type sessions that pop up every now and again as well that might be useful to look into. You can control mains powered devices as well. using things like the Click It On Plus. These are ones where, again, if somebody's using switches, they can control a device, for example, a smoothie maker or a blender. You simply plug this device into the wall and then plug the device that you want to control, your smoothie maker, into this. So this is kind of an adapter or an intermediary. And then you can use this with switches to do various different things. If somebody wants to do the type of activities we've been talking about here, so turning on a disco ball or bubble machine or your smoothie maker, but they're not a switch user, they're using a touch screen or eye gaze, you can use this device called a toy box to act as an intermediary. And the idea behind this is that you control this box through your eye gaze system or your touch screen, and then it in turn controls the toy or appliance. So nice ones just to know about. There's two options there. The toy box that I have on screen is for Windows-based devices. So if somebody's using a communication device that's Windows-based, that could be quite nice. Or you have a Praetorian Eye Control, which is for iOS devices. So again, if somebody's using an iPad already, this could be a really nice option for them. If you want to play computer games, there is some options out there. I'm not going to go into this in detail today, but the idea behind this is that you can play simple Switch games on your computer. You usually need a switch of some description, a connector, and then specialist software on your device. For iOS devices, it's very similar, but some of the switches that are used with iPads tend to have that connector inbuilt into the device, so it's Bluetooth accessible, so you don't have to usually have something plugged into your iPad as well. So it just depends on the system that you're using. And again, you can use these to play lots of different types of games. One website that I really like is a website called Help Kids Learn. So this is an option whereby you just open it up and hopefully it's still working. So some of these time out after a while. So this is the Help Kids Learn website. Sugar, it has timed out. And hopefully it'll sign me back in. Yeah. So this has a load of games on here. It is subscription based. I think it's roughly about a tenner a month, around €100 a year. So again, a really nice present idea, your subscription to this website for somebody who might be starting out. And you can see on the left-hand side there, all the different games are classified under different headings. So you can find something for where the child is at and hopefully build on their skills as the year goes by. Some of these are touchscreen accessible. A lot of them are Switch accessible as well. So for example, let's go into something here. I want to go into growing ripples. So this is a simple cause and effect type one. So as I touch the screen, it creates a ripple effect, in this case a star. And as soon as I take my finger away, it goes out of screen there. So you can see if I go into settings, I can set it up that it's going for a touch or mouse or switch selection. It's a really nice one to know about. And every single time it comes out with something new. So you can see there it's doing a square now, circle now. So a really nice one to know about. Because I want to go back here. And it can kind of build with the child, as I was saying. So that's simple cause and effect. You touch the screen or you press your switch and something happens. You can kind of see it's starting to develop upwards. Some of these will start looking for multiple switch presses and can get more complex games going on. Sequential ones where you have to press the switch at a particular time to move on forward as well. And you can see there's lots of different options here around games. So a fantastic resource to have. And you can go right up to making choices. Sorry, I'm just going to keep scrolling here. Or wait, no, hold on, I can just untick all of these. So you can go up to things like making choices. So here you can kind of see, let's see, where is, oh no, sorry. Tartan Timing, this is the one I wanted to show you. It's one of my favorite games in here. This is it. Splat the Clowns. So this is a really nice one for developing those skills about waiting until the right moment. So you can see I've got my tomato at the ready here. Here comes the clown, but I have to wait until he gets into that circle in order to splat him. So I got him. If I go too soon, I'll show you in a second, he disappears. So it's all about patience and waiting. So if I go too quickly, before he gets in the circle, he just simply runs away and I miss my opportunity. So there's lots of other websites out there that have simple games along the way as well. Huge list there. Sorry, I'm just realizing I never changed Tar Heel Reader in this one. I have to, in particular, mention Ian Bean, his website as well. Fantastic resources in there, particularly for maybe older learners who are still accessing at a simpler point. So maybe they're still at that cause and effect stage, but they might be 14, 15-year-old. He's got a load of really good age-appropriate activities in there. For older users then, there's loads of options. For those who might need something a little bit more complex, but on a simpler playing level, oneswitch.org is a fantastic website. It collates together loads of options around gaming. So just be aware of that one. There's eye gaze specific games then, if somebody's using eye gaze. And I've just put up a clip here of, allow me to play it. iMine, which is the version of Minecraft specifically for eye gaze users. So let me just scroll along here and you'll get a better idea. So you can kind of see there he's got a kind of grid with different commands that he can give his character in Minecraft. So he can do things like walk and fly and build and place things and do all the things that you can do in normal Minecraft, but just controlling it with your eyes. Loads of on-screen online games as well then. So accessible Sudoku or word searches or Wordle for those people who might be into those kind of levels of kind of more cognitively based games. You can see there word speaking is a vocal crossware as well. And some of the ones, the apps designed for seniors can be really good for people with access issues as well. Just then turning to some mainstream gaming options. I have a list of different games here. I'm not a gamer myself, so I'm going to apologize in advance because I won't be able to give you a good overview of these. But if you have a teenager, they may have come across some of these, but these are particular games that have been recommended for their accessibility. So for example, No Man's Sky, Minecraft, as we mentioned there a few minutes ago, Fallout 4, walking simulators where you're walking around an environment. Some of them can be quite nice as well. Turn-based games. So this is kind of collaborative gaming. So again, some of these are more accessible options. I'm going to talk a little bit about accessibility of game controllers of the Xbox, PS5, and just going to mention Nintendo here. Those are links to where you can find out more information around maybe tweaking the standard controller to make things a little bit easier to control for the person if they're a single-handed user, if they don't have good reflexes, if they need some support around access, they can be really good options. I do want to talk about a few different available controllers. These are considered specialized, but you can usually buy them sometimes in shops, but definitely through the website of the Microsoft, for example, for the Xbox ones, and the PS5 from the PlayStation type options. So, for example, the Xbox accessibility controller is a really nice option. I'm going to just show you a video here of somebody using it, and I've just turned off the sound. So you can kind of see there he's using a combination of a standard joystick and then using switches as well. And again, this person is using different options. You see the switches there, some of them are small, some of them are larger. You can also use the accessibility controller there, which is kind of mapped across to the standardized controller, but it's much larger targets. So if somebody needs that for fine motor or they have cognitive issues and just need a larger space to work around, it's a really nice option. So just let me go to my camera for a second again. So we have the Windows controller here. So let's say quite nice big buttons rather than the small little buttons that you'd find on the standard controller. You've got quite a large D-pad for like controlling directions and stuff like that. But you can also plug in things as well. So for example, if you're using a specialized controller, you have a USB port over here on the side. You could maybe plug in, this is a one-handed joystick. So it's designed for one hand rather than the standard two-handed joystick that you get for a lot of games. It's a really nice option to know about. And as you saw there as well in the video, you can plug in switches. This accessible controller can plug in, I think it's 19 different switches if you want to. So you can kind of see they map across to the buttons you normally find in the controller, like the A, B, X, and Y ones there, for example. And sorry, so I'm going to turn this slightly. You can see here some of the switches. So as I mentioned, the large switch, small switches, the light touch switch over here for those who might have difficulty pressing on switches. So for example, if somebody has muscular dystrophy, that can be a difficult one. So that's a light touch switch. This one here is a variable trigger switch. So it can be quite nice for doing things like acceleration if you're in a racing game, for example, or if you're choosing what amount of force to put behind a football if you're playing one of the football games. And again, you have the stickers over there so you can label them all. Just going to show you the next one. Okay, so just move up here. This is the access controller for the PlayStation 5. It's a really nice option. It's designed that it can be used single-handedly by simply pushing in the joystick there, so it keeps everything quite close together and you can simply use one hand to control everything. Or if you have access to two hands, you can simply move it apart so you can have a little bit more comfort in playing. The buttons here, all the caps can have their little rubberized label put onto them. So these are interchangeable and you can map the controllers across on the software that comes with this. The joystick, you can even change the topper. So if, for example, you're not a fan of the flat toppers, you might want something a little bit bigger, you can pop that on there. They're all magnetic, so very easily interchangeable. The buttons here are quite convex, is it? So again, you can just simply pull those off. They're all attached via magnets. So you can choose a different style of button there. So that's kind of a shallower, more concave type button. Sorry, I don't know if you're seeing that on the screen, or even a deeper one here. Or you can create bigger playing areas as well. And again, these can all be mapped in the software. So you can kind of create your controller the way you want it to suit the games you're playing. This one holds up to 3 profiles. So you can have pre-made profiles for 3 games with different controls set on different buttons at each time. There's loads of other adaptive controllers out there. Just one I want to mention is the Proteus controller from BioWave. This is an Irish company. It's the picture on the bottom right there. This is a controller that you can kind of chop and change to suit your own preferences. So you kind of see there the picture. It can be dialed around a standardized controller, or you can make it into a longer shape rather than square. And you can change the little pieces that pop in and out. So you can have a joystick where you want it, buttons where you want it. Really nice one. It's only newly launched, so it'd be interesting to get a little bit more feedback on that. And the last thing I just wanted to talk about is just speech assistance, because I think this can make a really nice present for people and can help them move towards independence in the future. So using something like an Alexa or Google Home or a Apple HomePod, really nice option. You can use it to play fun and games. So for example, I've got my one here. Alexa, how many days till Christmas?
Good afternoon, Julian. The skill Christmas Countdown can help you with that. Would you want to enable it?
Oh, was already enabled. No.
All right.
Alexa, play Lady Gaga.
Fantastic Joker, following Tilda Durr released a new album. Joker, following Tilda Durr, music from the motion picture, available on Amazon Music and
Alexa, stop.
It's free for 30 days.
Alexa, stop. Sorry, it's not playing the music that I want there. I thought we could get it to just play a song for us, but unfortunately it does not seem to want to do that for us right now. As say, if somebody has non-standard speech, you can use things like those speech buttons to record in favorite commands, like particular favorite singers and things like that. I'm realizing I've gone over slightly, so I'm going to stop presenting now at this point.